Oh, okay. No, I got actually a couple of projects going on. Several things, but I guess what I really want to talk about is I had a little fun in the Lugcast lab.
Oh yeah, I saw you messing around in there.
Yeah, I decided I wanted to mess around with Portainer, and that has allowed me to start learning Docker Compose.
Wait, before you keep, explain what the Lugcast Lab is to everybody.
Lugcast Lab is a server set up by Mordency where we go and we try out different experiments and talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're supposed to record everything we do, but I'm horrible at the whole recording part. That's too much like what I do at work.
You don't want to do actual work.
Right? I don't want to write another wiki.
Nobody wants to do
I
that.
have my name on enough of them.
Right. But the point is to have fun. It's
Yep.
a place where we can experiment and learn and shit like that.
So I set up Portainer, and then there were a couple of Dockers that I wanted to try out, and I had set up. Oh gosh, log in real quick. I set up there because I set up a second one afterwards on my home server. The interesting thing was when I set up Portainer on the Lugcast Lab, it found everybody else's Docker instances too, and they're all listed there.
Hmm.
Very exciting. Yeah, I had to install Docker, and then I had to install Docker Compose, and then it's a Docker image of Portainer, and then Portainer allows you to install everything else there. Now, I did install Jupyter Notebook. Familiar with
Oh,
that?
yeah.
It's where I go to occasionally practice my
Python.
rather limited Python skills, try to improve them. And then I also I installed Cura, I installed Orca Slicer, and I installed Cura Slicer. But the only one that actually I did get Cura to work, but it's
And you accessed
had
it
some,
from a web interface, or?
yes, from a web interface. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there are some other issues that go along with that, and I'll get into those when I start talking about when I set it up on my system. But I also installed Audio Bookshelf on the Lugcast Lab just to test it out, and that was kind of interesting. I didn't want to transfer a whole crap ton of books over there to get everything working to see how well it worked. So what I tried to do was set up a fuse mount. But for some reason, when I first started setting up the fuse mount, it kept changing the user to Mordency.
Huh.
So I had to jump through some hoops, but eventually I was able to force it to have the owner as root, which is what's running the Docker instance. So, um, and then for some reason, Audio Bookshelf still would not see the fuse mount, even though it was mounted to the shared location within the Docker image. So, um, what I ended up doing was just CPing something up a level and testing it out that way and having it play from there, and that worked out just fine.
Hmm.
It works really good. I just don't know if I don't think I'm going to try and eat up all the bandwidth on Lugcast Lab, but it was a fun test to do. And then I was able to get Orca Slicer and Cura both working, but obviously I didn't want to be shuffling files back and forth to be able to do it, and I would have had to SCP over the STL and then SCP back the G code. So what I ended up doing was resetting everything up on my server computer that I'm on right now, and I installed a couple of different things. But I did do the Cura and the Orca slicer. Now, I normally use Cura on just the app image of Cura, but I decided to install it on here and test, and also because it's a lot easier if I want to slice something while I'm far away, like on my phone or on a low power laptop, which I will be all of next week. I can still at least get the STLs sliced and ready to go for when I get back. So right now on my home PC, now I can install containers without using Docker Compose and install them manually. And I guess there is also a way to add containers, although without like Docker Compose or anything like that. So it's not in the stack; it's just directly in the container. And you can see, like my Nextcloud, I have that on a Docker image, and that got pulled in automatically, so it's seen. And then I have, like I said, Cura and Orca Slicer, and I was able to get Cura running, but I think it's because of my old graphics card that I have in here that it failed to slice, which is why I switched to Orca Slicer, and that worked just fine to slice things. And Orca Slicer is a little bit different. It takes a lot more work to make faster prints of decent quality, but there is a lot of control there. It's just really, really spread out. I'd say Cura is a lot more simple to use. But I was able to get things working correctly and was able to get a print to come out right. Now, some of my settings were a little off, and it wasn't as strong as I needed it, so I will have to reprint it. That particular one takes quite a bit of plastic, so that might have to